Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a great day so far and welcome to today's video, which is going to be all about this imminent love collection from Pat McGrath. We're going to be going through all of the details, all of the products that are going to be on offer. I'm going to share my thoughts, what I plan to pick up and what I think will sell out versus what will be around for a while. So if that sounds good to you, then let's get started. So the love collection for Valentine's Day from Pat McGrath is huge. This is a ginormous collection. I was not expecting the sheer number of products that are going to be available. I feel like there's kind of something for everybody in here. Looks like the vast majority of this collection at least will be limited edition. It is launching on the 27th of January. Usually the VIP early access starts at 9 a.m. Is ET or PST? I don't know. I don't know what the time zones are. I barely know my own name and what time it is here most of the time. But I will of course post an update as soon as this collection is available on my community page and also on my Instagram. I will post once we have the code and the early access information. It will be there for you as usual. Most of this appears that it will be limited edition. There are also some re-promoted items in here that we already have seen and already are familiar with, along with some brand new formulas, and everything looks extremely tempting. So let's take a look at what is on offer. So there are 3 eyeshadow palettes. Perhaps the most exciting of these 3 eyeshadow palettes for most Pat McGrath brands is going to be Velvet Liaison, because it is the brand's first ever all matte palette. We have been crying out and begging Pat McGrath. That has been a very highly requested item from the brand to come out with an all matte eyeshadow palette, and here it is, and it looks stunning. This features Beige Bliss, a natural beige velvet matte, Midnight Mink, a rich red brown velvet matte, Enamored, a terracotta velvet matte, Barely Veiled warm beige brown velvet matte, Plum Provocateur, a cool taupe velvet matte, and Voluptuous Rose, a deepened mauve rose velvet matte. This, for me, I expect to be the first item of this entire collection to sell out. As I said, this has been a very highly requested product from the brand. A lot of people are mega excited to see an all matte palette from Pat. It's also probably the most different from what she's already offered us, because she's never done an all matte before, or even a palette with like more than 2 or 3 mattes in it before. So this is something quite new to the brand, something that, as I said, is a popular request. So I would guess that this would be the first item to sell out. If anything does, this will be, I think, the fastest to sell, because it has been something that a lot of people have been waiting a long time to get their hands on, and it looks absolutely beautiful. There does not appear to be any re-promoted shades in here. I went through the list of all of the shade names and I checked Temptalia's database to try and find were any of these shades in a previous palette. I cannot find any of the shade names in here in any previous palette. Next up we have Sublime Seduction. So this is the sort of warm neutral palette of the trio that are going to be available. This features Champagne Desire, a luminous champagne shimmer, Sable Seduction, a soft neutral brown velvet matte, Peach Persuasion, a pastel peach velvet matte, Honey Luster, a golden bronze metallic, Bronze Fantasy, a copper bronze metallic, and Burning Desire, a vermilion amber velvet matte. So in this palette, I did find one of Pat McGrath's idols, so that is her single shadows, previously had the name Burning Desire. So this seems like it does include one re-promoted shade from her idols, her single shadows, which is that Burning Desire matte shade. When I first saw the pictures of this palette, I was really excited about it. It just looked absolutely beautiful, the most gorgeous neutrals palette, a great companion with the all matte palette. But actually, having seen the swatches, it looked so much warmer than I thought it was going to be, and that for me personally was slightly disappointing. I was hoping it was going to be a little more neutral than it seems that it is from the swatches. And finally, from the eyeshadow palettes, we have Iconic Infatuation. And this is your pinky mauve palette, featuring Candlelight Affair, a luminous beige champagne shimmer, Eternal Love, a mauve plum velvet matte, Bare Venus, a neutral pink velvet matte, Forever Adored, a coral rose metallic, Platinum Divinity, which is a platinum rose metallic, and Endearment, a neutral plum rose velvet matte. Again, I could not find any repeated or re-promoted shades in this palette. If you have found any, then please let me know. It seems like across the 3 palettes there is only one name that pops up as a previous re-promoted shade, and that is Burning Desire from the iDolls formula in Sublime Seduction. I couldn't find any other re-promoted shades among the 3 palettes, so that is fantastic. If you already own a lot of Pat McGrath, there aren't a lot of repeats in here. Now, although there are prices on Pat's website for this collection currently, I'm nervous of stating them because they tend to change. I don't know if this happens on the US website, but on the UK website, prices are displayed during the kind of preview stage of the launch. And then when the products actually go live, all of the prices change and they typically go up. So at the moment, these are listed on Pat's website as £50. I would expect them to go up on launch day. Typically what I think happens is that tax is added once the products actually launch. So expect them to go up by a few pounds to cover tax. That's what usually happens. So next up, there are going to be 7 Longwear liquid eyeshadows available. These are Divine Champagne, which is a luminous gold champagne with sparkling platinum pearl. Luna Rose, a luminous rose gold with sparkling platinum pearl. Bronze Bijou, a luminous warm bronze with sparkling gold pearl. Platinum Bronze, a luminous cool bronze with sparkling platinum pearl. Smouldering Seduction, a luminous sienna bronze with sparkling pink and gold pearl. Twilight Platinum, a luminous pewter with sparkling platinum pearl. And Cosmic Chartreuse, which is a luminous khaki green with sparkling gold pearl. And according to the website, currently these are £23. Again, expect that price to go up. I think, again, these will be a very popular product on launch day. I would expect like the most popular shades to sell out on launch day. Perhaps those would be the 2 lighter ones. I'm not 100% sure which shades, for me are the best, or the ones that I would find the most exciting, are not necessarily going to be the general consensus, but I would again expect a couple of these shades, perhaps the green, the chartreuse as well, because it's probably the most unique of the 7. Maybe that one would sell out quickly as well, but these look absolutely beautiful. And again, being a new formula, new product from the brand, I would expect these to be really popular, and they do look to be quite a good price point as well, much more affordable than buying one of the palettes. So a lot of people might plump for one of these and save the money that it would cost for the palette. So these are described as being a liquid shimmer shadow with a creamy texture, ultra blendable, crease proof, smudge resistant with 10-hour wear, and you get 6 mils for your money. All sounds very, very good. Doesn't claim to be waterproof, but yeah, a lot of this sounds fantastic. So I expect these to be really popular. And we know that Pat McGrath can do a shimmer shadow, okay? That we know, that we can count on. So next up, we have 3 new Satin Allure lipsticks. I think Nude Venus, which is the first shade, I think that was previously released, but in her information on Instagram, this says Nude Venus 2. So I'm not 100% sure whether that's a new shade or not. This is a natural bare nude. Then we have In the Flesh, which is a warm rosewood. And finally, Crimson Ecstasy, which is a bright scarlet red. These are all satin lipsticks. I'm a big fan of her satin formula. It's got a gorgeous luminosity to the finish, very, very creamy, very opaque, beautiful lipsticks. I do not like this packaging. This is like the Bridgerton packaging of the lipsticks, and it just previously, I don't know if they've improved it, but the previous ones that I had just felt very light and cheap, and they really don't look very luxurious like her black bullets. I'm not a fan of this packaging, but that is really a side note. The product itself, I always really love. We then have 2 re-promoted shades of blush. So both of these blushes are existing shades in Pat McGrath's permanent line, just with the external packaging for the Love collection. collection. So we have Desert Orchid, which is a bronze rose with golden pearl, and we have Flirtatious, which is a soft beige pink demi matte. So I already own Desert Orchid. It's my favorite Pat McGrath blush, one of my favorite blushes of all time. I absolutely love it. It's truly beautiful, but I'm so disappointed that these are existing re-promoted blush shades. I feel like we've been crying out and begging Pat to give us her baked blush formula that appeared in the Bridgerton palette in a more practical packaging in singles, and I really feel like that's such a missed opportunity here. I really wish we'd had new shades of her permanent blush formula, or even better, the baked blushes in new shades or just in singles in packaging. I feel like this is such a missed opportunity. I know so many people are so disappointed because we love the blush formula, but we've got these shades. We want new shades. It's such a shame, but it is what it is. There are also 2 re-promoted shades of Pat's Liquilust Legendary Wear lipstick. That's her liquid matte lipstick, Nude Venus, which is a warm coral nude, and Nude Cabaret, which is a soft beige peach. We also have 1 shade of her blurring under eye powder in the light shade. For some reason, I'm not sure why all of the shades of this powder are not going to be available in this collection, but this is again a permanent product re-promoted with the external packaging the only thing that is different about it being included in this collection. So that is it. That is everything that is going to be available on the 27th. Here's my thoughts, what I think are the winners out of this collection, what I think is worth picking up, what I plan to personally pick up. So first of all, the eyeshadow palettes. Iconic Infatuation, which is the mauve palette. This is going to be a pass for me. I think this is like the most beautiful of the 3, which is ironic that I'm not going to plan to pick it up. But it is also kind of the most repetitive color story that the brand produces. It's very similar to like Divine Rose. It's got a lot of similar shades in there that we've already seen over the years in her quads and in her minis and in her motherships as well. I just feel like I have all of these shades. As gorgeous as that palette looks and right up my street, I definitely feel like I have it and it's unnecessary for me personally, but I think it's a beautiful palette. Sublime Seduction, which is the warm toned palette. I love the look of this. I truly wish this had been a bit more neutral, a bit less warm, because I just don't love this super, super warm tones. I think I will still pick this up because I kind of want to see how it swatches on me, how warm it looks on me, and whether I might still really love this. And I think it's going to be a perfect companion palette to the Velvet Liaison palette, which I absolutely am going to do everything I can to get my mitts on that one. That 100% is on my list. I think it's perhaps the most special of this whole collection because we've all wanted an all matte palette from Pat, and the colours in here look absolutely perfect for what I like to use day to day and for like natural no makeup. This is definitely something that I would get a lot of use out of, and I think it will work beautifully with Sublime Seduction, just picking, you know, some shimmers out of there if you want to add some shimmer into your look. So those are the 2 eyeshadow palettes that I plan to pick up from this collection. As I said, I expect Velvet Liaison to be the item that sells out the fastest of this whole collection. I'm not sure how fast that will be, but that is my kind of educated guess, just because it's one that people have been waiting a long time to get their hands on. So I'm gonna move quick, let me tell you. Now, I'm not typically a huge liquid eyeshadow type of girl. I don't use a lot of liquid or cream eyeshadows. I don't use a lot of single eyeshadows, but I'm so intrigued by this formula, and some of these swatches look absolutely glorious. I might have to pick up a couple. The picks for me are that Divine Champagne. I just think that could be stunning with just a bit of a transition shade and that lightly on the lid. I think that will be gorgeous. It's bound to be very, very sparkly, so I'm excited to try that one. And then number 5, Platinum Bronze. I think that looks gorgeous, and it's just a very me shade. I think that would be beautiful for like a smoky eye, very, very easy. So I'm definitely going to pick up those 2 shades of the liquid shadows. And whether this is surprising or not, I'm not sure. That is going to be it for me. The 2 2 eyeshadow palettes and a couple of shades of the liquid shadows. I don't need any of those lipsticks. I have a lot of lipsticks. None of those shades are like particularly groundbreaking or grabbing me that much. And I already own the beautiful Desert Orchid blush, and Flirtatious is one that I've skipped on because I think it's just a bit too light for me and my preference when it comes to blushes. You know, the liquid lipsticks are also re-promoted, and I already have the blurring powders. So that is all that I'm going to be picking up from that collection. As you know, Pat McGrath launches can be stressful. They seem to be getting more and more stressful as time goes on. I feel like a lot of people are still waiting on orders, and I see that comment a lot on Pat McGrath's socials and also my comment sections. People who haven't got their orders from like a month or longer ago, really having issues with customer services. So it's such a shame, but Pat McGrath's website does not come without risk when placing orders there. So that's definitely something to be aware of and proceed with caution. Ironically, I haven't been having any problems recently. I had a lot of problems previously, but my last few orders, although, you know, they do take 2 weeks to arrive, have been very smooth outside of that kind of long time to wait. So yeah, I can't really help as far as customer services with Pat McGrath, but I would always say to expect it to be a mess, and then you can't be disappointed. So those are all my thoughts on this imminent new collection from Pat McGrath. Please let me know what you're most excited by, what you plan to pick up, whether you plan to just skip this whole collection altogether. Please let me know what your picks are and what you think is the most exciting or not, as the case may be. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, and I'd love to see you in the next one. Otherwise, take care for now. Bye 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 bye.